Peer checking is a very useful and productive way of developing your reviewing skills. When you read your friend's work, you are assuming the role of the reader and the teacher. If your friend's work is well written, then it will be fluent and easy to read, and you will have no problems understanding the overall content.
In Abu Dhabi, where freshwater sources are very limited, sustainable water management is a high priority. The region receives on average just 120 millimeters of rainfall every year, but the country is seeing demand for water increase by almost 40% annually. In this situation, it is clear that Abu Dhabi needs to boost the efficiency of water use by increasing water recycling.
When gray water undergoes biological cleaning, the water is collected from various sources around the house and fed into a coarse filter and surge tank. This serves two purposes. First of all, a valve regulates air and water flow into the surge tank, so that an even flow and pressure is maintained. This is important for the filtering process to work properly and ensure an even flow of gray water through the filter.
People run for many different reasons, namely, for fun, for exercise, to raise money for charities, and so on. Over the past decades, running has become an essential part of many health routines because of the publicity about its beneficial effects. It is claimed that it is good for our heart, it reduces stress, and it helps to prevent diseases like diabetes.
What are the physical limits to life in extreme environments? Although microbes are the Earth's simplest organisms, they live in places where it is impossible for more complex life forms to survive. Some microbes are able to thrive in the water surrounding deep-sea hydrothermal vents, which emit water heated up to 400 degrees Celsius.
A microbe can either reproduce by dividing or it can conserve its energy and maintain only its most basic functions. One possibility is that in the unfavorable conditions under the South Pacific floor, the microbes could have been dividing very slowly over centuries. In this case, the microbes in the study may be the descendants of an even more distant past.
Although it is difficult to take people back to the moon, it is not impossible. We can transport people, but the logistical challenge of keeping them there is a very different thing. However, we have two of the components necessary to make this work: power from the sun and the minerals on the moon itself. Scientists and researchers are already busy working on this in laboratories.
In 1994, Microsoft's founder, Bill Gates, said that although banking is necessary, banks are really not. At a time when many traditional institutions and ways of doing things are changing, banking is changing too. There are now new ways of accessing loans and lending money. Thanks to the rise of alternative finance, people can raise and invest money outside the traditional banking system.
Our widespread participation in social media in recent years has led to the emergence of what is termed social media influencers. These online entrepreneurs are people who have created a positive reputation amongst their followers for providing knowledge or expertise on a particular subject. The brands have seen them as a means of promoting their product or service to thousands and sometimes millions of people.
Birds have a variety of methods by which they are able to find their way across the flyways, year in and year out. It seems that birds employ different geopositioning strategies according to the conditions encountered during migration. They seem able to use the position of the sun and stars, the Earth's magnetic field, smells and even landmarks to find their way.
Change is inevitable in any sphere of life. Although the results of change can bring great benefits, the process of change can be intensely traumatic, involve loss of choice, power, and status, and when change happens in the workplace, it can even lead to loss of jobs. Many businesses and organizations use a model called the change curve to understand and manage how people react to change.
Since the Soviet Union successfully launched the first man-made satellite, Sputnik 1, in 1957, about 5,000 more satellites have been put into orbit around the Earth. About 2,000 of these are active, and although the rest are now dysfunctional, they remain in orbit, together with parts from all the rockets that carried them there. These remnants are often referred to as space junk, space trash, or orbital debris.
A master of water management, the baobab tree can hold up to 120,000 liters of water in its trunk, which is incredibly useful for animals and humans in times of drought. Both are able to pierce the tree to access the water, and this is probably why many trees can be found along trade routes in Africa. The trunk is not a single structure but is composed of many stems fused together.
The world's coastlines are constantly being reshaped and reworked by the sea. Coastal erosion is one of the natural phenomena that contribute to the creation and destruction of our shores and one of the main processes that form beaches, dunes, mud flats, reefs and marshes along the coast. These different shoreline features provide a refuge and also render habitats for the wildlife.
The ability to work in a team is one that is prized by employers and educationalists. It is often requested in job advertisements and displayed on CVs. When employers list their most important skills for promotion, 86% of people list teamworking skills. These days, the willingness and ability to work with a group of people towards a single target has become increasingly important.
We all know that too much information can be a bad thing. This is as true in daily life as it is in business. Filtering useful from useless information has become a growing problem, bringing confusion with it, but this is where data curation can help. Curating data involves finding and displaying patterns in large volumes of disconnected and messy data to create meaningful information.
Everyone at some point can feel worried or anxious, homesick or isolated because they don't just fit in. This often happens when you change your location or when changes happen to you, and the truth is that this happens to lots of people, and it's a normal part of life. It's been recognized that around 1/3 of students will experience poor mental health during their studies.
It is quite normal to feel under pressure, and pressure can sometimes be a positive force. It can make us feel energized and take action to get results. But if the pressure becomes too much and we tip over into the feeling of being stressed, then it can have negative impact on us and our health. However, stress is a very subjective phenomenon and it lacks a precise medical definition.
One of the most mysterious and endangered fish in Europe is the European eel. Eels live very long and complex lives, and during their lifetime will travel thousands of miles, transforming themselves as they go. They can grow up to 1 meter long and have long and snake-like bodies with one pair of small fins at the sides. They are secretive creatures, and most of their early life at sea is a mystery.
Everyone loves a winner, is a common saying, but surprisingly, people dislike losing more than they like winning, and it actually takes a lot to tempt us to take a risk. Psychologists and economists from Princeton University found that people do not like to bet money in a 50-50 situation unless they can win twice the amount they could lose.